number 1 here at Sydney Motorsport Park. I love these rolling starts. And just listen to this when they take off. Oh, that does strange things to me, Brian. What a magnificent sound as we unleash them down into turn 1.
It's going to be something, isn't it? A long race ahead for these drivers. The opening race of the weekend, got to get the cobwebs out as well. It's been a long off-season, but here we are, already action deep in the pack.
Squirming around on the Hoosiers, Max Dumsney, Australian motorsport legend, provides the racing rubber for these cars. We're on board the motorsport sales entry, the 40 car of Nash Morris. And this kid is going to ruffle a few feathers, I reckon, this weekend.
I think so. We saw him in the thick of action a moment ago, and here he is once again looking down the inside, making another move up through the field, making his debut in the category this weekend. Of course, the son of a gun, Paul Morris, former Bathurst 1000 winner, also winner of the 12-hour and 6-hour too. But I tell you what, he's got some great techniques, doesn't he? Back on board again as cars going literally everywhere at the moment, Wayne.
So good to watch. They squirm. They've got a lot of horsepower. They've got minimal aero. It's just a fantastic concept, this TA2 muscle car series. We go on board with Nash. He squirms up the inside of the 21 car of Zach Luscialpo. And this has been a stirring drive for Nathan Hearn, looking solid in race 1. We kind of expected that. Borrowed car, and what a drive in race 1. Is this the trend for the weekend? So day goes into night here at Sydney Motorsport Park, and it is race number 2 of the Primax Performance Exhaust TA2 Muscle Car Series. Brian Vanderwacker joining me. These cars, there is so much to love about them. We're on board there with Mark Crutcher. Big cockpits, big engines, big tyres, plenty of action.
It's going to be great, isn't it? And how good do the cars look under lights as we have a look at the starting grid for race number 2? The results of race 1 as well. Nathan Hearn to start from pole, Tim Shaw alongside him. That's going to be a great battle into turn 1.
I've been following this category since it started. I've got to say, I've never seen a better looking field this year. Everybody has put in a massive effort. Cool to see Barry Kelleher in this field as well. A former Speedway late model sedan driver, and also pretty handy on a road racing motorbike. The veteran enjoying the class. Here's the extreme opposite. Nash Morris, the teenager, about to have a rip in a class field under lights. It looks like the Singapore Grand Prix, Brian.
Just about, not quite the glitz and the glamour though, isn't it? As we rear into turn number 1, 17 laps, and look at this on board already with Cheney through turn number 1, down into turn number 2, gets his way up into second there. Great start though once again from Nathan Hearn.
Good field. You're watching race 2, round 1. The championship, of course, heads in April, mid-April, to Morgan Park in Queensland, where it's also had a fair bit of excitement in the past. But on board with Anthony Tenkate in the Tenkate plant hire. Number 69, can't see them squirm under load. Hearn has bolted, no real surprises there. Tim Shaw has been solid. He finished up in second in race number 1. Here he is, driving a borrowed car. Unfortunately, the car owner, a bit of a crash before Christmas on a bike. And he got in the car for the weekend, but thought, I don't feel comfortable in the car, Russell. I'm going to give it to someone like Nathan Hearn to wheel it. And hasn't he grabbed that opportunity?
It's incredible, isn't it, how he just steps in and drives the thing and takes pole position, and then obviously the opening race as well. And now already streaking the field here in race number 2. Shaw already having to be defensive. I tell you what, the pack is starting to really bunch up behind Shaw in this battle for second spot.
Just the sound. It just does it. The cars look... Oh, hello! Last of the late breakers, as the great Luffy would say from back in the day. Warren Luff's very famous dad always used to say, the last of the late breakers, Ian Luff. They just look great under lights. I know what you said about not quite the glitz and glamours of Singapore Grand Prix, but it sounds better.
Yeah, true. It does certainly sound better. You're 100% right as we ride on board again here with Nash Morris, the run to turn 1. Looking for the slipstream here as well. Thinks about it. Might be a little bit too far back here for the lunge down the inside. Look at the car squirming as he fights the wheel through turn number 1. The long left-hander here. He's stuck in a bit of a pack here, but he's looking towards the inside again. We're almost 3 wide here for a moment. Contact as well. Geez, the elbows are out early here. Michael
Coulter under enormous pressure from Nash Morris. There's the Tempest Solutions, number 21 of Zach Luscialpo. We look back on board Michael Coulter, and he's got a mirror full of a very enthusiastic young Queenslander who looks now to the inside, back to the outside. It's a busy race. Race number 2, under lights. I think Nash is keen.
Keen to say the least, isn't he, as he comes through the back of the circuit here and down the wall. Oh no, they make contact, and unfortunately Coulter collects the inside wall. I can't help but thinking maybe there was a little bit of a helping hand there as well. Heavy damage to the left-hand side of that race car too.
The Capelco entry in the tyre bundles. Nash Morris continuing on in the Motorsport sales entry. Let's look at the replay here. This is the start. This is Tim Shaw. I love the telemetry too. Have a look at the speed. Climbing up to 180 kilometres an hour into turn 1 off the start. Thank you very much. Shaw went back to third on that. We'll take a look at your Pro Max replay. Now, what's this going to tell us?
Not much, does it? Just on the outside of the shot there, but look at this contact. Heavy impact there with the tyre barrier on the left. Right on board here with Nash. This will give us a little bit more of an understanding as to what happened. Coulter on the outside, on board here with Nash. There's a bit of a case to answer there, I think, to say the least, for Nash Morris. Riding on board here with Coulter. Good shot here of the rear. You might even be able to hear the dink here in a moment. There it is. And listen to this impact. Oh, it sounds nasty, doesn't it?
Yeah. Michael, he'd be as dark as the car park right now because that was an unload crutcher in that very cool looking 4-car. Oh, I'm not kidding. They all look cool. Steve Lacey, I do love the purple Dodge. The Wagner entry, the Wagner Corp Dodge looks absolutely mint as we go on board the Has Soul Motorsport number 27 of Graham Smith. You made a point earlier on, they don't have headlights, these cars, but the lighting is so good here at Sydney Motorsport Park, they kind of don't need them.
That's right, they're like a race car with stickers, aren't they? We know that's say from NASCAR, obviously. You do have the brake lights, though, in these cars. You'll see them light up on the way to turn number 2. Riding on board here with Graham Smith.
Do you think we saw them on Morris's car? I'm not sure that Nash had the brake lights on at that point. Smith into turn 1. We looked at that before. 200 k's an hour. If you look down that bottom right-hand corner, 200 at the end of this enormous straightaway at Sydney Motorsport Park. Oh, Lacey! A little aggressive, locked him up, and as she turned hard right, that would have been an interesting view for Smith behind him.
What a shame there for Lacey, making his debut in the category this weekend. Normally runs in the New South Wales Sports and ends in that beautiful yellow Chevrolet Camaro. So a little bit of a different car here for him at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Yeah, he's driving, of course, to the Peter Robinson entry. This will look great on the replay. Have a look at this for Graham Smith's perspective. He's barreling down into turn 2, and all of a sudden, he sees Lacey go to the inside, hard on the brakes, and then, well, that was close.
That's one of the difficult things about these TA2 cars, trying to get them stopped. They move around a lot under brakes. You can just see he probably just pinches the rear tyres a little bit, and around he goes down there at turn number 2. He's going to lose a bunch of time from that as well.
Peter Robinson would have been here driving that car, but they've got some big plans at the moment with the Wagner family, the Wellcamp Entertainment Precinct, $175 million project, including a motorsport driving facility and entertainment area as well. It's going to be huge. Look out. Nash Morris ripping up the inside here.
What a charge he's on at the moment. Didn't get the best start, did he? He's been in a little bit of carnage and controversy so far in this race as well, but he's making his way up through the field then, getting past Lechalpo. Lechalpo's going to look sort of back toward the inside here. Not quite, though, enough. And Morris...
Oh! He gave it back to him, though, out of that turn. So Lechalpo not going to be an easy contender here. Was there a sale on green paint, do you think, at the start of the season, Brian? There's a lot of mean-looking green.
Green's normally an unlucky colour for a race car, isn't it? But they're not doing too bad at the moment. I tell you someone who's doing a really nice job in this race at the moment, Anthony Tencoat. We're right on board with him at the moment. Started in position number 9, making his way up towards the top 5 here at the moment as well. So this 69 car doing a really good job so far in this second race, but he's got some traffic here in front of him right now.
Oh, that sound. Just listen to this.
This is where the battle started.
How's the wheel work?
Yeah, I know.
There too.
With Lechalpo. So Morris gets down the inside here in the run to turn number 1. I just love the sound. Look at it. Up on the wheel here through turn number 1. Then obviously there was a bit of afters down there at turn number 2 as well.
I'd love to see the dude in the Enforcer analyse that that race pass earlier on the earlier incident in the Cabelco entry.
Issues here for Lechalpo. He's pulling in. Unfortunately, and I'm hearing possibly that it might be a gear shift issue in that car. So frustration and disappointment for Zach Lechalpo, doing such a nice job running inside the top 5, but unfortunately he's out of this one, and that gives another spot here now to Anthony Tencoat as well.
April coming up, April 16 to 18, going to be a massive weekend for the second round of the AMRS, which doubles, of course, as the Pro Max Performance Exhaust TA2 Muscle Car Series round number 2, and Morgan Park is a great little circuit for these cars. Tencoat on the hammer. Down to this right-hander just here. Great looking car.
He's been sort of one of the stalwarts in the category, of course. Anthony Tenkate, been there really since day dot, made his debut in the category back in 2017 at Lakeside, round number 1 for that particular year. Can't get enough of Nash Morris at the moment, can you? Certainly making headlines here for the opening round of the TA2 series for 2021.
I'm sure that Michael Coulter can get enough of him, but no, he's certainly putting on a show like his old man. We love a bit of colour and a bit of controversy. He always goes hand in hand with the Morris family, and the dude will be saying, what? What's the problem?
Gotta love the Morris family, don't you? They've had some history in Australian motorsport over the years, and Nash Morris will certainly follow that trend in the years to come. 17 years of age, having a fair crack. Came out of Hyundais, I'm pretty sure. Interesting kind of way to morph into TA2 muscle cars. Listen to that sound. We ride on board with the Teenage Ranger here. The motorsportsales.com.au entry. Can he make that stick? Oh, there was contact then again! Well, that was interesting. So, at least there's plenty of room to fire off onto the lawn. But Cheney will be filthy. It'd be dark as what, Wade? 2 a.m?
As the car park right now at Sydney Motorsport Park. But, well, that's at 200 k's an hour too, mind you.
Fastest board of the racetrack. Here it is on board from Nash Morris. Little tag in the rear. And because these cars are so light sometimes under brakes, they move so much in the rear end, it doesn't take much to spin these cars around. You can see just the lightest of taps on board here. Now with the 51 as well. Oh, just got the wheel work. And around he goes. Listen to it as well as he goes back down the gears too. Fortunately, there's a fair bit of runoff down there in turn 1 on the grass, but well, it is all happening. We now check out the 66 car of Tim Shaw. He's under a fair bit of pressure now from a young man who's fairly charging. And the teenager has a look up the inside as well. Hold on tight, Tim. You're in the crosshairs. This could be anything, couldn't it, as they went their way back down the main straight. Morris just off the edge of the racetrack there as well. Tim Shaw, the only Tasmanian car in the field for round number 1 here. He last competed at Sandown, believe it or not. Really the only event he could do last year, being Tasmanian. Obviously a lot of restrictions regarding borders last year. I tell you what, he's doing a nice job at the moment. He's having to hold off one of the hardest young chargers in the field right now. Shaw locks up, opens the door. Morris, thank you very much. It's like Christmas Day straight down the inside. All we need is Tony Longhurst to be out there for Nash as well, and we can really relive some history. So nice job on that particular occasion. And the youngster sweeping down to this right-hander. We'll have a look at our Pro Max replay as you picked. Shaw got a little bit loose under brake, squirmed. Just watch it go deep into the corner here and then lock up and then straight through. That's just pressure is what that is. Pressure from Morris. Nice clean pass on that occasion. But here we go, half a lap to go. Nathan Hearn, what a tremendous drive again, Wade. His kid is his dad, I should say, is one of the all-time greats of V8 dirt modified racing, Stuart the Hitman Hearn. And this kid is amazing. The S5000 situation with Gary Rogers Motorsport, he drives the Trans Am for them as well. Is one of the hottest properties in Australian motor racing. Oh yeah, look at that for a little bit of tail out as well. And runs it home. Oh, I guess we're not looking after the tyres for the final race. What a drive. Nathan Hearn gets the win. His 13th win in the category. Believe it or not, the margin of victory is near enough to 40 seconds back to Nash Morris. A wonderful drive. Morris will get his best result in the category in position number 2, not without drama though. Will he though? Yeah. I wonder whether the officials might take a bit of a dim view of the enthusiasm, but hey, right now, if it shifts, it fits. Nice job. Hearn, Morris, Shaw, Tenkate, Graham Smith, Chris Pappas, Murray Kent, Graham Cheney maybe to get himself back up there as well. It was all happening in race 2 for the Pro Max Performance Exhaust TA2 muscle cars.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was awesome. It's been a privilege to drive this car. I mean, you know, coming from my car where, you know, you muscle around and it's a real soft car and you drive one of these things, it's feels a lot like a supercar, this thing to drive, so it's a real breeze to drive. You know, I mean, credit to Rusty and his team for setting up a car like this. It's one of the best cars I've driven, and yeah, you know, it's a real privilege to be down here this weekend, and I'm just glad I could get a good result for Rusty Wright Racing.
So after all the excitement on the Saturday night, the boys were back at it again Sunday morning for race 3 and race 4. and that is the Beg-owned Nash Morris car. The boys were having at it back on a beautiful Sunday morning. What better way to start your Sunday than the sound of a throaty field of V8s in TA2 muscle cars. Now, Smith, unfortunately, loops it right up the front too, Brian. Unfortunately, got missed. That could have been ugly.
Running third at the time, wasn't he? Nathan Hearn, though, another brilliant start in the Russell Wright number 55 machine. But a little bit of drama here, though, Wade.
A little bit of drama. This is Cheney and Shaw. Now, there's several touch-ups here and then. That's a massive, massive impact. So between Cheney and Shaw, two totally impacted race cars, which brought out the safety car, which basically handed the win to Nathan Hearn. So another win for him, and it set up an exciting fourth and final race for the weekend in round one of the Promax Performance Exhaust TA2 Muscle Car Series.
So it's right off the pole. Morris alongside him on the front row as they went into turn number one. And it was great, wasn't it? This battle for position number one. Morris working over the race leader. And just around the back of Corporate Hill, down the inside, Nash Morris, his debut weekend in the category, fights for the race lead, ultimately gets the job done. And look at this, not much Nathan could do around the outside there. He had the inside line here for the right-hand hairpin, but Morris was just brilliant around the outside.
A lot of talk that Nathan Hearn actually went for only 4 tyres for the weekend. Nash went to, well, as he is wont to do, 6 tyres. It may have been a bit of a difference, but Nash was superb in that fourth and final race. And look at him, he's absolutely elated, the young man. His debut win here in TA2.
Yeah, thank you. It was real good. First time racing here at TA2 Racing Australia. Yeah, had a good time. You know, I didn't think I'd be that far up the grid, but, you know, I'm happy with it.
Oh, look, we had a quick car all weekend, so it's a credit to the right team. You know, it was a privilege to drive our car this weekend, and I'm honoured that I got the chance to drive this weekend.
Fantastic stuff from the TA2 Muscle